And here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Evan and Aaron Show presents the Red and the Blue Soccer Chat. We just want to chat. We want to talk with you about footy. We want to have good drinks that I need to cover up the name. There we go. And we just want to have some good crack tonight. And that is not the Marion Barry kind. Oh! Do you think any millennials or Gen Zers will understand that reference?
Not the second part of it.
Yeah, no, not the second part. Yeah. There you go.
Part.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. It is another beautiful Wednesday night here in Central Indiana. We are so glad to be here and very thankful for our host venue, the good old people of Chatham Tap here in Fisher, my friend. How are you feeling on this beautiful day?
The last few days have been very nice. This is not normally what I expect in Indianapolis in August, and had a birthday party a week or so ago. Got great weather for that, and so it really enjoyed it. Got to have the doors open and let the dogs run free.
Let the dogs run free, my friend.
But you know what? I'm excited. We've got a new season and kind of a new look here. We're on opposite sides of where we've been because we finally realized that these shirts are on the wall right next to where we've just been broadcasting. So,
that's all right.
Good looking out, Chatham Tap.
We're good.
But yes, Evan.
Yes.
The season has kicked off. Do we want to start in chronological order with what has gone on since the last time we were here? Because I think. I think we have got to start by applauding the U.S. women. It was perhaps not quite the all-out dominating performance as we've seen previously, but given what occurred just a few short months ago in the World Cup, and brought in Emma Hayes,
yes,
who dropped the mic on the Women's Premier League career with Chelsea, with a title win, and then walked straight into the U.S. camp and turned them into gold medal winners in the Paris Olympics.
Yeah,
I want you to talk about the Trident, but also how important that goalkeeping and defensive base is to allow everything on that. What are your thoughts of these three young women being supported by those veterans?
It's amazing to me to see, and first of all, like you said, you got to give Emma Hayes, just all kinds of credit in the world. First of all, Sonia Bonpastor, we started out with the win. Excellent way to keep us going. We appreciate that. But when we talk about Emma, and we talk about the fact that, the U.S. team came in and not necessarily were favorites, but I think people kind of thought, okay, this very well could be the U.S.'s time to regain their status in the world. And I think they did that. I think Alyssa Nair, I'm a huge fan. Alyssa, listen to me. As a former keeper, everything you do, awesome. Wonderful. I love you. I absolutely love everything you do on the field.
She's tremendous.
She is absolutely the heart and soul of that defense. Now, I will say that, but there is a caveat to that as well. She's the heart and soul, but I have not seen anybody other than Crystal Dunn work as hard as Germa did during the entire tournament, bro.
When Emma Hayes says she's potentially the best defender she's ever seen, that's high praise. I'm sorry, that's a special comment.
Yes.
And I think we're looking at the future captain of the team.
Absolutely,
Lindsay steps down.
Absolutely, Naomi Germa is just absolutely one of the stalwarts on this team. She has inserted herself as, you know what? Look, I am a starter on the U.S. women's national team, and I dare someone to come take my spot. That is that type of play that we saw from her. Now, like I said, as a keeper, love to herald the defense. But my God, Mal and Mal Swanson, Smith, and Rodman. You cannot ask for a more dangerous Trident or a more
Right.
dangerous espresso. You know, it's just whatever they want to
Well,
call
and-
themselves. That's okay because they can score goals and they manufacture
Yeah.
goals. That is rare in the game today. Manufacturing those goals.
You can see the the camaraderie and the understanding they have amongst them. When one moves, the other understands where a ball needs to be played. And when one has the ball, the other knows when to make a run. I do have to admit something.
Please, no, good.
I, for the longest time, was like, what happened to Mallory Pugh? Like, she was an up-and-comer. Like, what's
true,
going on?
true.
I did not
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that she married Dansby Swanson of the Chicago Cubs, who I've been
She's
making
now
fun
Mal
of.
Swanson.
Who I've been
Yes,
making
yes.
fun of Dansby Swanson's name for a long time because he sounds like a villain in a John Hughes high school movie.
It's that
Right? Like,
it's
he's
that,
going to have a Porsche 944 parked outside your
That's
house one day, and it's just going to be awkward for everybody. And there's no
yeah.
way he's going for
Yeah.
Molly Ringwald. Anyway, so it's awesome.
He's not even holding the boombox up, guys.
Right,
Sorry, he's
right.
not doing it.
But I mean, I've just got to say, Trinity Rodman plays with a real fire, and I know she's not close with her father, but boy, that apple didn't fall far from the
Yes.
physical
Yes.
aggression tree, and she just plays so hard. But Sophia Smith and Mal Swanson, just that they're interchanged, and then you've got your Lindsay Rand, you've still got a bit of Rose Lavelle, you've got
Yes.
these other creative players who, because they know Naomi Girma
Yep.
and Crystal Dunn and Alyssa Nair
Yep.
are behind them. I mean, that's that level of confidence. That's what you want to see in every team. That's why goalkeepers are so important to a team. That's why a settled back line, whether you're playing 3 or 4 or 5,
Yeah.
is so important. This team, Emma went about finding the right people to put out there, and I'd say she got it right. There were a couple moments where I think teams were trying to figure out how to get at us, but this reminded me of the past glory days, and I think this is a team that, I mean, you look at the age of these players, we should be looking at another close to a decade of, if not outright dominance, because they're just going to get better.
Exactly.
But certainly competitiveness.
And Emma has put together, I'm not saying that she put together this team, but she has brought this team together in a fashion that allows us to be competitive, that allows us to be competitive with the rest of the teams. Because remember last year we talked about this, and our friend Io came on the podcast, and he said, hey, look, it's not a matter of when these countries catch up. These countries have caught up.
Yeah.
But once again, the U.S. women's national team has shown we do not rebuild.
No,
We just reload.
Yeah, we just reload.
And it's a matter of putting the shells in the right position. And Emma has the shotgun cocked and loaded. I mean, we are ready to go on a run, I think, that you will see these 3 mature together.
Yeah, I think so too.
And think about this. We both have had squads like this. And I'm just speaking from a Chelsea point of view. When you know you have a Peter Cech in goal, there are times you can go for it and
You can
not
take
worry
chances
about it.
and know,
When you
yeah.
know you have an Alyssa Nair, when you know you have a Crystal Dunn,
Yeah.
when you know you have a Naomi Girma back
Absolutely.
there, you can take shots.
Yeah.
That's what I love about it.
And I look at it. First off, I loved that Emily Sonnet really got to finish. Because she's getting up there in years.
Yes,
She's been late
yes.
to get to the national team, but I
Yep.
tell you what, better late than never.
Exactly.
I
She's solid.
absolutely love the way she plays. I call her my spirit animal. I used to say that about Megan Rapinoe, and she has ridden off into the sunset like the legend she is. I'm
Megan,
loving Emily
Megan.
Sonnet. I love the fact that she got this opportunity and grabbed it with both hands.
Yeah.
I remember I think it was a moment late on, I think in the Brazil match, where she made a tremendous block. And then, of course, Nair making a great late block as well. So, it took everybody to get this. And, yeah, they were 3 1-0 wins in a row. But I'd rather lift the medal ugly than not lift the medal at all. And you know what? There are going to be times where this team walks into a tournament and they just play people off the park. Some days you've just got to grit it out.
Exactly.
And that's what they did here.
Yes.
So,
Yes. And one last thing, and then I'm done with this. But I have to say that it's so refreshing to see a manager for one of the U.S. teams actually make subs when it makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah,
when it
absolutely.
makes sense. She has trained this team for fitness. She has trained this team for endurance. But I think Emma knew when it was time for Mal to come out. I think she knew when it was time for Trinity to come out. I think she knew whenever those subs when those subs had to happen. I'm sorry, Trinity didn't come out, but Mal did. She knew that Mal needed a breather, and not only needed a breather, but it was time.
Yeah.
It was time for her to come out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's brilliant. That is brilliant to me.
And I think we're about to find out. It's a perfect segue. Also on the USA tip, Mauricio Pochettino has been appointed the U.S. men's national team coach.
Yep.
The U.S. men, I thought, performed okay at the Olympics.
I did too.
The Morocco match, I think, showed I think the difference between the way we developed between the ages of 18 and 23 years old, and they didn't have that same level of composure. But they went out, played, they got themselves, first off, they qualified for their first time in a few Olympics, and then secondly, got themselves back to a quarterfinal match or a quarterfinal match.
Quarterfinal.
And I think at the Olympic level, that's the kind of thing we should be looking at as a level of success. I think we should beat a Morocco, but that's the next step. But for the senior squad, I really think Pochettino's a good get. In the grand scheme of things, you weren't ever going to get Jurgen Klopp. People need to accept that. Jose Mourinho's not coming in because we can't afford him.
Nope.
But Mauricio Pochettino is known for his tactical astuteness and really strong, training sessions to drill that home. International ball is different than the club level. I think there's a lot more decision makers in your way at the club level if you haven't established yourself. And Mauricio, I think, is a top-level coach. He's been at some of these big clubs, but you can see how, clearly he and Todd Bowley weren't on the same page. He has surely come into the U.S. program and said, here's what I intend to do.
Yeah.
And if U.S. soccer is smart, they'll just get the hell out of his way and let him realize the full potential of what we got, because we've got guys starting for Champions League teams now.
Yeah.
We've got guys going deep into the season in getting starts for teams, scoring goals. There's a really good pool of players that has not lived up to its potential, and I think a big part of that was Berhalter did not challenge them enough. That is a consistent thing I've heard. I'm not in the camps, but I've heard he doesn't challenge them. These guys aren't worried about losing their spot. And secondly, he's not tactically as strong as some of these other coaches, and you really, really need to understand a couple major systems of play for the international game, and like you said, adjusting throughout. You don't have the same time and ability to work with these guys that the clubs do. I think if you took the Champions League winner and played him against a European Cup winner or a European Championship winner, I think that'd be a pretty damn good game. And there'd be some overlap, obviously, but you get my point.
Yes.
These club teams are practicing together, 9-10 months out of the year sometimes, and they develop relationships and rapport on the field, and you see it. You see what a City does. You see what a Real Madrid does.
Yes.
And it's very hard to get national teams to that level. I think Pochettino is somebody who could help get us to that kind of level, and we should be saying our goal is to play in the final of this 2026 World Cup.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree, because I think what Pochettino brings in as well is that factor of fitness. And I'll say this. Yes, Chelsea did not play as many matches as other teams last year, because you guys were playing in the Champions League and you were doing other things. But I will say this: down the stretch, I believe that it came down to fitness that helped Chelsea go on that big win streak. It really did. It helped them go on a big win streak. And if you can keep players fit and if you can keep them on top of their game longer than the other team, you're going to wear them down. You're going to wear them out. And I think that this can become one of the United States MO. We can really start to break down teams. Teams can get winded against us, because if Pochettino leans into that fitness thing, that training thing, and gets us to a point to where we don't get gassed as easy, I think you can see a lot of improvement from the U.S. men's team. And that's why I'm excited about Pochettino going there. Is just simply one of the reasons is that element right there.
Yeah, I agree. So, all right, we can probably move on now to.
Okay. Well, where are we moving? What are we going to do? What are we going to
Well, we're keeping with the chronological theme here.
do? Yeah. Okay. Yes, let's do that. Man. The Red Devils come out of the gate with a win.
Yeah,
And that was good. I wanted to get your impression on this because I actually went back and watched the highlights of this match. It was an exciting match. I thought it was. I thought it was a really well-played match. I thought, hey, guys, listen, just because it's Fulham doesn't mean that they're not going to show up to play.
Right.
And I think that's from an outsider's view, that is like number one thing to say to all the United fans who are like, oh, that was crap. It's Fulham. No, Fulham came to play. It's the first game of the season. You're going to you're going to Old Trafford. You want to show up. They showed up, but as we were just talking about the women's team, champions find a way to win. And I want to hear a couple things from you. Number one, do you see the championship glow in this team? Because they gritted this out, and I know that's early. It's very, very early. But then number two, while the window is open, did you see anything that kind of you were like, we need to get on that pretty quick?
Well, I hesitate to say the championship glow.
I know.
But I do clearly see what the intent is. Not to go back to it, but we've had an injury bug for quite some time. So to see, it was great to see Licha back on the field. He's absolutely going to be huge for us. Delict ended up coming on. I think McGuire started, and he's a good servant, but obviously we're going to try to play a higher line and play out of the back in a way that just doesn't really suit him, and hopefully that it does for Delict. I was very, very impressed by Nazraoui, and I just don't know much about him. I didn't see him play a whole lot at Bayern last year, but he held down the right wing, got forward when he needed to, so I thought that was good. Delote was out there as well, and I think he's a really good player. I think we're going to see, Yoro provides us a little bit of options back there. One thing I do want to touch on, and I won't forget your second point, but I think these things go hand in hand, is that, to begin the season, all the pundits have their narratives.
Oh God,
about what's going on, and
True.
And it's interesting when the game doesn't unfold in quite the way that their talking points do. Oh,
hey,
and we'll pause right there for halftime.
Absolutely.
Reminder: if you can see the scroll. But we are at Chatham Tap, as we are every other Wednesday when we can get around to it. But this Saturday, they will be open at 7:30 in the morning on Saturday and 9 a.m. on Sunday. Only the regular menu at 10 o'clock, no breakfast, but they will be serving a little earlier than normal. So, as ever, thank you.
Bring in donuts. Bring Skyline. However you can get it here, do it. Or Kolache.
Kolache
there
Factory.
You go.
It
right
is
there.
on the way. So anyway, thank you as ever to the beautiful women of Chatham Tap and Dave.
I thought he was a beautiful
Cheers.
woman. Thank you all so
Thank
much.
you.
Oh, that was awesome. Woo.
But I
Yes.
think when the game did not quite unfold, and I'll say this. Mason Mount of 2019, 2020 Chelsea version may not exist anymore.
Yeah, no.
Injuries
You're right.
and things
I
take
think
that,
you're right.
their toll.
I think you're right.
But I will say that I thought he played well.
I did too.
He wasn't a world beater, but here's how I know he played well. That game changed when he got subbed off, because our high press was pretty much led by him and Bruno, and we know Bruno covers a lot of ground, but Mason Mount's press is really, really quite incredible.
Yeah.
And he was harassing the Fulham defense, and a lot of the times he was forcing them into bad passes into the middle third that we were just jumping on. I mean, Mainu had a lot of interceptions.
Yeah.
Kaza had interceptions. So I think that really paid off. obviously, his replacement comes on, doesn't have a lot of touches, but ends
scores
up
the winner.
scoring the winner, so
Yeah.
he's going to take the plaudits. And, I think if you kind of put them side by side, you'd say both these guys did what we asked them to do, just in two completely different ways, because Xerxes going to drop deeper. He's
Sure.
not going to be with that press, and I think that's where Rasmus Højlund, obviously a true striker, will when he's healthy, will help out.
Yeah.
It'd be great if we could bring in another just pure striker, an Ivan Toney or whoever has been linked with this. And then when it calls for it, and I've seen this mentioned, Fergie used to play a midfield three when it was going to be a big game, and I think that's where. A true midfield three. I know we technically walk out in a 4-2-3-1, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. More of a 4-3-3 where you're a little bit more narrow in the middle. And I think that's where Mount is really going to show his value, because I'm not sure the guy, I don't think the dynamism is there anymore for him as a player.
Okay.
We've got a lot of guys who are good on the ball. Can Rashford elevate to where he was 2 seasons ago?
Sure.
Can Garnacho repeat what he did last year?
Yes.
Is Ahmad ready to make the step? Is Facundo going to get any time? Is Anthony going to be a real $80 million flop? These are questions that we still don't have answers to. I don't think we need to panic buy at this point. We brought in solid players, and we didn't get raked over the coals the way United have in recent years. I think we've gotten decent value for money.
Do you think that Mount can scratch the Eriksen itch? Do you think that he can kind of fill that spot with Bruno? Because when they were at their best, Bruno and Eriksen, they worked so well together. Do you think Mount can bring that type of energy?
Well, I think there's a domino effect, and the best we saw, the best we've seen of United play over the last year and a half or so is a very healthy and awake and aware and ready to go Casemiro at the base of this, and then Eriksen as sort of the connector, and that allows Bruno to be a lot more influential. It's not as important as he maintains his space, because he does like to drift, and he likes to find those pockets. But I think with Eriksen, and with Kaza setting the platform, Eriksen able to go do the wandering, get the ball, he finds Bruno. Now you've gone between the lines and you've created issues for the other team to have to deal with.
Right.
I don't think Mount does that.
Okay.
But I think he has other value, and the realization is that we're now looking at we've got Casemiro, McTominay, Mainu, and Mount, all vying for these very similar spots. Because let's face it, if he's healthy, you're not dropping Bruno.
No.
No one in their right mind would drop Bruno,
No way.
unless your decision is, hey, he plays so damn many minutes. But in my mind, his direct replacement wouldn't be Mason Mount, and I'm going to catch grief for this. His direct replacement's Jadon Sancho.
Interesting.
Because Jadon Sancho has demonstrated he can play that number 10 role.
Okay.
And he can bring you some goal scoring activity, whether that's him being on the end of it or him setting somebody up. I think he's probably going to leave before the window closes.
I don't think you get much pushback.
Well, there's a lot of people that really think the jersey was too big for him and that he was disrespectful and stuff. And there are arguments to be made for that. But in my opinion, if he stays, that's the role he should be looking at. We don't
Absolutely.
Let's not put him out there on a wing on an island. It's not what he wants.
Right.
He demonstrated at Dortmund that he can be that sort of inside left, inside right, closer to a 10. More of a and I don't want this direct comparison, but more of a Foden. Somebody who wants to drift out and get the ball and then come in and help set people up. And if you open the door, he's gonna take a shot.
Which was interesting. Foden was not on the starting lineup. As we,
I think that has more to do with how.
I don't think we're transferring over. I don't think we're transitioning over yet. But
I mean, we absolutely can, because I think I've said my piece there on United.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to these first few games. Obviously, we've got Brighton and Hove away this weekend at 7:30 in the morning, and the new Man U group is here. They will be flying the flag outside.
There you go.
I may have a conflict, so I'm not sure if I am going to make it at 7:30. But I'll let you know if I do, because I'll obviously be reposting.
There you go.
And blowing up the spot for Chatham Town Fishers. But they will be here, and that's going to be a thing. Arsenal fans, You got competition now,
There
guys.
you go.
But yeah, we can absolutely
Well, we
transition.
just want to give a shout out to Troy Divis. Troy, thank you for joining us, man.
Absolutely.
He just started
is he
watching.
on,
Appreciate it. Yep.
is he on the Facebook? Or
Yeah,
is he
he's on the Facebook. He is on the
Alrighty.
Wow, we just went like southeastern Ohio, the Facebook.
The Facebook.
The Facebook. But ladies and gentlemen, and Ty, you're watching us too. Excellent. Awesome. Thanks for being here, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, I guess we can make the switch.
I will finish answering your question because it has more to do with City than it
Segues.
does
Yes,
to United.
yes.
I think it has more to do with the fact that a lot of these guys played deep into the summer at major tournaments.
Yeah.
I mean they played in a final. Then you got to give these guys some time off.
Sure.
And then they come back. I think Foden is probably champing at the bit because he got told all summer long he didn't play well at the Euro, and I think that. You might be poking a bear with that guy
I
because
think so.
He's a hell of a player. We saw that in a couple times United played City last year. Even though I will say this, going back to the Community Shield, I think that game unfolded very much the way the previous few games have unfolded.
Sure,
Whereas I think United managed to withstand the pressure that City puts on, waited for City to commit themselves, and kind of got out there and caught him.
Yeah.
And United was minutes away from a good early season or preseason victory. That it's a morale booster. It's not a big deal. But to lose that game on penalties, I don't think they're going to care a whole lot about.
No.
And I think they've shown the league now in 3 or 4 games in a row.
Yes.
The blueprint for how you should go after them.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it appears Enzo Maresco did not watch any of those games. But I don't think Chelsea played that poorly. I just think they're a victim. I said this in our intro today. I think they're a victim of the same problems that they've had. It's a good thing that we saw Nkunku out there. But there's obvious question marks over Nico Jackson's ability to run that front line. Pedro Neto is somebody good to bring in.
Yes.
But he's also a different type of player.
Sure.
So what was your main takeaway from this first game? Because you couldn't have possibly gone into this thinking we're about to beat the hell out of City.
Not at all. And my takeaway from this match, in literally just sitting there and watching it and analyzing it, my takeaway from this match is there is nothing to be worried about right now, guys.
No, shouldn't be.
Nothing to be worried about right now. This is why I, so far, am a fan of Enzo Maresca.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of the stats that came out of this match. If you were to ask me who was going to control possession in this match, I would absolutely have said City by far, no doubt. City only controlled possession 51.8%.
Well, and I would add to that, if you showed me a highlight video of this match, but didn't show me the goals getting scored,
right?
I would have said this match ended maybe 1-1.
Yes, exactly.
Because I don't think City has moments where they totally dominate for a good 10 minutes at a time. But there are long stretches of games with them where they don't really do much with the possession they have, and they commit players forward and allow themselves to get people in behind them. And Chelsea had multiple opportunities that, again, Nico's just not the finisher.
No.
That is needed, but I think the dynamism of Nkunku is interesting. I think if the Joao Felix deal goes through, you've already had him there once. He's been up and down, but again, if you've got Nkunku and Joao Felix out there,
I'm not mad about it.
I think Joao Felix, I think he creates an interesting formation question because obviously. I think you want to play him as a 10.
Yeah.
I don't think you want to play him as
an
out winger.
No,
but if you do that, now you're pushing Enzo a little further back.
Sure.
I thought Lavia looked good for having not
really good.
It's going to be really hard this season to not mess his name up.
Oh no. Especially on International Women's Day, right? Is that it? Okay.
Absolutely.
Here's the thing. What I would say about the performance I'm not mad about. I'm really not mad about their performance.
No.
They looked solid. There were 4 times on defense they looked like Keystone Cops, and they got hit twice.
Yep.
And it was like, okay, that errant pass. Bernardo Silva put his foot on it, and it just went right to Holland, and that's okay. That's all right. The Kovacic goal, what were we doing? What the hell? Kovacic just made an incredible run, and that's okay. That happens. But here's the thing. We don't need to worry so much because shot attempts.
Yeah.
City had 11.
No,
we had 10.
The stats in this match are very, very close.
Very close, very close. And here's the thing. It is, like you said, our old nemesis finishing.
Yeah.
I can't finish it because it's going to be bad.
Finishing in the box. Well, but I mean, it's that kind of joke, folks.
Finishing in the box. We just can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you should be disappointed in the performance. And again, it's first game of the season against City, who punishes those types of mistakes. If you'd have been playing a Brentford or an Ipswich or something like that, you've still got to convert your opportunities.
Yes.
But I don't think Erling Haaland makes that goal look easy. It's really
not.
Anything but.
It is not. It's not easy.
That's a high quality finish. Yeah, it's close range and an intercepted pass and all that stuff. There's still work to be done there.
Oh, yeah.
There's still you got to lift it. You got to drop and turn, and you got to commit the goalie and then dink it over him. And
I'm not faulting Sanchez for that. Sanchez actually was in the right position. It was just a wonderful goal.
Is he going to be the goalkeeper moving forward, or is the new guy? What's with the new guy? Why sign a new guy?
Here's the thing that I just found out. Georgi Petrovic is still on our roster.
Him and half of Europe.
Yeah, exactly. What is happening right now?
I got to check, looking for old 401ks. I might be in the reserve team roster for Chelsea right now.
Man.
You have 56 players signed?
I don't.
56
No,
players?
it's actually 43.
Oh, okay.
I checked it. It's 43.
Okay,
43.
right.
We will have 25 in 2 weeks.
Well, you have to.
We have to.
No, but you're still going to have to pay the other 21 dudes.
Exactly. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So that is the other piece to this segment is the fact that Trevor Chalobah, Georgi Petrovic, Conor Gallagher.
Well, Conor Gallagher was left out for a very obvious reason. He's the make weight in the Joao Felix.
Yes, absolutely.
And you already kind of knew he was gone.
We kind of knew he was gone.
I thought that deal was done a week ago.
Big Rom going back to La Liga and going with going there in hopes that we get a striker that can actually put the ball in the back of the net. But that's probably for another show.
Osman. Yeah,
probably for another show.
I don't think that's probably going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen because I think they're going to ask way too much.
Well, we've got
way too much money.
We've got 10 days left in the window. Is that right? Is it 31st?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we got 10 days left.
I believe it is.
So I mean, I think from just my perspective as a Chelsea fan, I got to be honest. I don't know who's going to leave and who's going to stay.
I can tell you one guy who's going to leave is Raheem Sterling. If anybody can afford his contract.
I was shocked because you guys know, if you've been watching the show at all, you know how much of a Chile fan I am. Raheem Sterling and Ben Chilwell have had honest conversations with Enzo Maresca saying you guys don't fit into what I did. Now, I'm not freaking out about it. I'm like, you know what? That is a manager who is like, no, I'm putting all my eggs in one basket. I am going to run this thing my way. And, yes, they are great players. And he said that about both of them. He said, I'm not saying that they're bad players. They're really good players.
That's never the issue.
But they don't fit in to my type of system. I
all
like
of these guys are tremendous players.
Exactly.
It's about the system.
I like different wingers.
Yeah.
I like different wingers. And so I'm like, you know what? Okay, let's go with Coach. Let's go with him, and let's say, okay, you get who you want. I love me some Raheem Sterling. I've got a Raheem Sterling jersey. As a matter of fact, it was a number 17 jersey, which, now he is not number 7.
Right.
So hopefully he'll get 17. But anyway, and I love me some Chile. But there has to be a time. This is football. This
sure.
is football.
This
it's the
is the game.
business.
Yeah.
It's the business of football.
Do you know what Raheem Sterling's salary is?
$50, isn't it?
He gets paid $325,000 a week.
Yeah. $50 million for a 5-year, 6-year contract, something like that. But yeah, 300.
That's your problem.
I know.
You can unload Chili because I doubt he's on that kind of
Right,
money,
he's
and
not on that
he'll
money.
still be seen as a young player
Sure.
that can come in. Raheem is 30.
Yes, 30 years old.
He's 30 years old on 325, and really hasn't demonstrated himself as and not necessarily his fault. I mean,
Sure.
there's been a lot of issues and turnover
Sure,
with Chelsea and Todd Bowley and all that, but I mean, it's really been since City. I think he had one good season at Chelsea where he scored more than 10 goals, right?
Like the first season
But
he was there, he's been there 2
I think
seasons.
there's the rub. That's why David De Gea hasn't had a job for 2 years.
Well,
the guy wants 350,000 pounds a week.
exactly.
Hey, dude, you're a goalkeeper.
Yes, exactly. And I know that's a problem. And the closer we get to the window ending, the worse it's going to be. This is going to be a fire sale, guys. The Blues fans, here's the deal. Don't be shocked that if all the pundits in England start saying about Chelsea that, wow, we are like the Walmart of the EPL. Like, we have got so many players we have to sell. We cannot look and say, oh, my God, we got robbed for that player. We're going to have to just suck it up, and we're going to have to say, you know what? It is what it is.
What did he cost you? Did he come on a free?
Yeah, I don't think he initially cost us anything. I don't think he
Troy, Google that shit.
Yeah, there you go. But, the fact is, Mrs. Blue is watching. Hi, Mrs. Blue. Nice to see you.
How are you? How is your feed faster than our actual
I'm just saying.
connection
I'm like, I'm trying to give our people love.
I get it.
Like,
I don't understand.
This is what's happening. This is what's happening. What's up, Mrs. Blue? Love you. But what I'm going to say is this: is that we just need to hang on for this season, and we need to just once again get behind our manager, because last year, if we were to keep Pochettino, I really do think that we would have rolled that momentum of what he was building into the season. Now, I'm not saying anything bad about Maresco. Maresca, I'm not saying anything. But Enzo has some things to prove. Yeah. But I will say this, as not just a casual footy fan, but as someone who's invested in footy, I looked at that match and I said, there's a lot of good stuff to take away from this match.
There's plenty.
And it wasn't just that whole, try again. No, we've got a good team. We've got a good team, and he just needs to put it together.
I think you've got an interesting 10 days or so coming up here. You've got 2 Europa Conference League qualifying matches.
Yes. And I've got
those sandwich a Wolves match away, who I thought played okay against Arsenal. You should beat Servette, but here's the thing. You've got to go play a home and away. You've got to play another game in the middle. How many players is Maresca willing to use in that, what, you got 3 games in 7 days. How many players is he willing to use? Who's he willing to give a view to? Does he care? Like, I honestly, he'll catch some stick if you somehow don't qualify. But sometimes not qualifying for these tournaments and playing a little fewer games, that way you can just play some dudes consistently and don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
But maybe you don't need that. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Is this important?
My thoughts are that, and you know this about me, and you guys will know, fitness is everything for me. And for players to play, I think it makes a huge difference. If players are playing, they feel good. And the thing is it's early on in the season where it's like, okay, in my opinion, I'm putting on my manager's cap. In my opinion, I want to see my 11 guys play in different situations, in different scenarios. I want to see them play in EPL. In a UEFA match. I want to see them play Wolves. I want to then see them turn around and then defend the bridge. I want them to come with the passion each and every time, no matter where we're at. And I know that is it's a 50-50 type thing. And I know that other people are like, hey, the fact is that I would rest my people. That's cool. But I think we have a comment from Troy.
Thank you, Troy. So transfer from Liverpool to City was $44 million. So you decided to spend even more money on him at $47.5
Thanks, Troy. Thanks a lot,
for
bro.
5 years.
Thanks a lot for making me look even
in
bad.
20
Just kidding.
2022.
Should we hire Troy as an intern? Yeah, there you go.
Can
Troy.
we afford? Troy, can we just pay you in beer?
Beer, maybe beer.
Shots of Jameson.
There you go. Shots of Jameson. Well, yeah,
thank
that
you,
hurts.
Though. I mean, I think you're definitely
That
going to take a
hurts.
loss on that. I don't
Yeah.
think you're going to get.
We're not taking a loss. We're taking a bath.
Well, you're not going to get 50 mil out of the guy. You're not
No.
going to make your money back on
No.
him. And the bigger issue is his salary is going to make it difficult for some. I mean, somebody's going to have to offer you something absurd like 20 million if he won't come off that contract.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
even then, I'm not sure I'd do it.
Right.
This is where Juve comes in and always works wonders.
Yes.
Because they figure out how to pay guys in a weird way, which is why also Juventus get in trouble every so
Hey.
often. So we'll see how that goes. So, I mean, let's.
that was a good segment, bro. Yeah. Oh! The drunk crowd has now woke up. They're like, hey, give us what we want. Give us what we came here for. They came here for the Hey Aaron segment for
Did they?
tonight.
All
I'm
right.
just saying, they did. They
Maybe
were
they
like,
did.
we want the funk. That's what they want. Ladies and gentlemen, you know that we are at the end of August, and if you've been checking the Facebooks, you probably have friends and family possibly that have been, posting pictures of short people going back to school
Yes.
and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And what we're doing tonight is we're doing something very, very special. We are going to do a back-to-school little board. All the questions, that you ask the kid. We're doing a back-to-school board on Aaron.
Ooh.
Okay?
All right.
So,
All right.
Aaron, I'm going to ask you to put yourself into your junior high mindset when you were in junior high. Okay. Yeah, I know that's a pretty cool, interesting age to think about.
I had a cool starter jacket.
Oh, cool starter jacket.
Yeah.
Charlotte Hornets.
No. Pacers.
Pacers.
It was a
Okay.
Pacers
Oh,
starter.
okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I'm going to ask you these questions that you might find on your friend's Facebook page, asking their kids these questions, their favorite things. So here we go.
Alrighty.
Number one, favorite sports team.
Well, Manchester United.
Oh wow, that was interesting. But I mean, you don't have to be a homer. You can talk about other sports.
I mean, I'm a huge fan of a lot of the major American sports. Kind of casual with some of it, but I'm a big IU soccer and basketball fan.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, support the Colts. Really like when the Pacers are doing well, and they're going to be exciting to watch this fall. Reds fan when they're
No.
Let's win a game. Let's lose a game. Let's win a
exactly.
game. Let's lose a game.
Yeah, exactly.
Bit of a Toronto Maple Leafs fan in the NHL.
Okay.
And I tell you what, I want to say this. I absolutely love the Olympics, and was really, really glued to it, and was really excited to watch. People who don't get as much press, the Alana Mayers of the world, the U.S. women's water polo team, things like that. But it should be pointed out that the Paralympics, I believe, kicks off today. And these athletes are every bit, if not more, worthy of our support and tuning in.
Absolutely.
Because, I think everybody who's out there, you see, all the networks do a great job of telling you the backstories and what these people have had to do to get to where they are. I tell you what, you got a disability and you've made it to the Olympics. You have overcome something immense, and also you have a tremendous mental fortitude. So I think we owe it just as much to them as we did our able-bodied athletes, and you're going to see some amazing things. There's going to be people who are running on one real leg that are faster than you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. And some sports that you've never seen before. Sport ball is out there.
Sport ball.
Wheelchair rugby.
Yes.
Or as I believe it has been referred to in the documentary as murder ball. I mean, there's some unique things to watch out for here. So please tune into that. Those are my sports.
There you go. All right, favorite school lunch.
I gotta go with the flat square or flat rectangle pizza. Flat rectangle pizza. Also, by the way, there is a place I believe that you can buy flat rectangle pizza.
No, come on.
Yeah, there's the catering company that sells it has reduced the size of it, so you don't have to buy like a school's worth of pizza, but you can buy.
Are you serious?
Yes,
right now?
you can buy high school rectangle flat pizza.
Wow.
Yeah. Not that French bread crap.
No. We got to.
Which wasn't bad, but
okay.
flat rectangle pizza, man, I'd trade half my lunchbox for that.
Yeah. Oh wow. We just got an update from ESPN. Joey Votto, at 40 years old, has retired officially.
He couldn't get healthy. He just couldn't get healthy.
know-
But I tell you what, this guy already belongs in the Hall of Fame. He's going to get there. He's just been a tremendous player. I as much as I loved him at the Reds,
Yes.
I would love to have seen him get traded at some point in his career to a contender. It would have been great to see him go to the Dodgers
Yes.
or the Yankees and just DH and help those guys hit even better, because he's one of the greatest hitters I've ever seen in my life. He's a guy loves the
He's
game.
a gamer. He is a
and he's
gamer.
Canadian, so that's a bonus point too. So.
Favorite teacher? Now remember, I asked you to go into your junior high self. Do you remember that far? Favorite teacher?
My favorite teacher was my first grade teacher, Mrs. Carmichael.
Oh,
It was Miss McLaren, and then she got married, and her name was Mrs. Carmichael.
you had a Mrs. Carmichael.
I had a
I
Mrs.
did
Carmichael, and first grade teacher, and I bet to this day, if we ran into each other, she would absolutely recognize me, and I would recognize her. It's just some of those people that, in your formative years, make a huge difference. And also, shout out to our teachers out there. I've got good friends that are teachers. It's a tough-ass job.
Yeah.
You're asked to do way too much with way too little funding.
Yep,
So,
yep, yep.
yes, Mrs. Carmichael was the teacher that I definitely recall. Junior high, maybe Mr. Hall, because he was my 7th grade basketball coach, and he really helped. Well, he recognized how passionate and how hard I wanted to play the game, and really tuned into that.
Yeah.
And I think got the best out of me at a time when I was maybe an undersized kid, but I would have fought tooth and nail for that ball.
That's awesome.
So.
That is awesome. Oh my gosh. Favorite subject? I know Troy just chimed in. The Fiestadas? Hey Ty, thanks for joining us, man. The Fiestadas. It was a hexagonal shaped pizza that combined Mexican and Tex-Mex flavor. What school were you going
Troy's
to,
from
Troy?
a different part of the country than we are.
Holy cow.
Yes.
Woo. All right. Well, next question. Favorite subject?
Favorite subject? Probably at that time history. Before
Thank you, man.
before I knew that our textbooks weren't being honest with us, and that there was a lot of history that I wasn't being taught.
Right.
I've read Howard Zinn. I've read What Our Teachers Never Told Us.
Yes.
Obviously, I think we need to do better in that respect. But I think I've always just been fascinated, because I think if you don't know what came before you and where you came from, it's really hard to help your own identity and move forward and help others move forward. And that's also why I think not teaching people the real history. I find it interesting that the people who tried to bar little girls from going to a school in Little Rock, Arkansas, are the same people who now don't want their grandchildren to learn about them.
Yes.
Trying to bar little
girls
children from going
exactly.
to school in Little Rock,
Exactly.
Arkansas. So I think it's massively important, and I think it's very important too. If there's a field of study that you are interested in, go search for more information outside of your school.
Yes.
Go to your local public library and walk up and say, this is one of my favorite subjects, and the light that will shine in the eyes of that librarian will be amazing, and they will take you into a whole new universe of ideas that you're just not going to get exposed to. I don't care what school you go to,
right?
Public, private, charter, whatever. You're just not going to get that kind of in-depth education, because you can't.
Exactly. This is like the second part of the Hey Aaron segment. You got 3 minutes, man. 3 minutes. politically speaking,
Ooh.
in America.
Yes.
Okay, politically speaking in America,
Mhm.
where do you think we are at as far as a national level of hope, of excitement?
I think there is a new level of hope, and you know, I'll without getting into endorsements and things like that, I think right now there's one party that represents an attempt to have a renewed hope, a connection to a recent past, but attempting to forge a new future and bend that moral arc of the universe closer to justice, and a party that really wants to return us to a darker time. And it's okay to not agree with that, but you need to ask yourself the questions why, not just because I'm saying it. But I do think there is a new level of hope. I think there's a lot of energy from not just the youth, who are always energetic when they get a good candidate,
Sure.
but I think we're rejuvenated with a belief in somebody who I think can. She would struggle to bring people together. I guess I just did endorse somebody. I guess she would struggle to endorse, or she would struggle to bring people together who already have a penchant to not want to be a part of that. But that's on them.
Yep.
I think if you're open to it, you recognize the true path forward that we have. And yeah, I'm hopeful in a way that. Prior to her nominations, I was more of a, oh God, I hope we can ride this economic wave and a few things and get over the hump. But she has brought a new energy and a new voice and a new attitude to things that I find interesting.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm excited for that.
Man, that's awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the Hey Aaron segment. And literally tonight I threw that last piece at him and he didn't even know it was coming. And that's how good my friend is. I appreciate you and I love you, man.
I appreciate you back.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Guys, listen, those of you who are watching, Ty, Troy, Mrs. Blue, thank you so much. You guys, all the rest of you who are going to be watching this, all 10 of you,
we posted on the Manu fan page
there
this
you go.
week. So,
there you go. So you never know.
Hopefully they made it first through the early U.S. stuff and enjoyed the United stuff and can deal with us
after
throwing it back to the old show and every once in a while getting a little political. So
after I finish up this doctorate, dude, is my goal to start a new Chelsea support.
I like it.
Here
I think that would
Indiana.
be great.
We're going to do it, guys. All the Blues out there, please join me in that. But, ladies and gentlemen, tonight, thank you so much. We're going to make the Gram. We are going to make all the Facebooks and everything like that. We're already on Facebooks. But my favorite part of the show is coming up right now. It is the Aaron's Final Thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us. This is Evan, your boy right here, handing it off to your boy Aaron to give us that final just encouragement for tonight. My friend, what do you got for us?
My final thoughts are this. Exactly 1 week ago, I turned 50 years old. I know.
Black don't crack, baby.
And I can tell you that. I can tell you that. 50 isn't in any way what I thought it would look or feel like, and I think that says something about everyone's perception. You know, when you're a little kid, you're 16, 20 years old, maybe even 25, and you're like, God damn, 50 years old. That just sounds horrible, and how will I make it, and I'll just be a curmudgeon and all this stuff. One, it doesn't have to be, and two, it just isn't. I feel rejuvenated in life, and I'm excited to tackle as many of the next 50 as I possibly can, and maybe beyond that, although that sounds like it might suck. But I can tell you that I have no intention of slowing down, and I think it helps to step outside of your normal perception. Turning 50 was different for me, but after the last few years that I've experienced, I won't call it a rebirth. I'll just say it's a rejuvenation, and I'm excited. I'm excited to spend more time with this guy, and I'm excited to spend more time with all of you, and I hope you will join me for the rest of that ride.
That's what I'm talking about, man. My goodness. Ladies and gentlemen,
thank you.
We are Man, I'll tell you what, we're fortunate. We're fortunate to have you join us. We're fortunate to have friends jump on here. You guys, we love you so much. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's a beautiful night in Central Indiana. Get out there and enjoy it.
Remember to like, subscribe, and comment. We are on all of it. Instagram, when we are in under an hour. Facebook, YouTube, Spotify. Captivate puts us elsewhere. We're on Apple Podcasts.
Yep.
If you can't find us, you're not looking very hard. Otherwise, just reach out directly to us and we'll let you know. You can go to our link tree, which is also in the body of the intro for this video itself. So thank you all for tuning in.
Hashtag Black People Vote.
Hashtag Say Gay.
Deuces.